Welcome back to GEMS Podcast. I am the founder and host, Miss Genesis Amaris Kemp, and with me today is Jeffrey Feldberg. And here's a bit about Jeffrey. He is the co-founder and CEO of Deep Wealth. Jeffrey's mission is to help you capture the maximum value in your liquidity event through deep wealth experience. You master the same 9-step roadmap that Jeffrey created for his 9-figure exit. After graduating from his MBA program, Jeffrey launched his first company, Imbanet. As an industry leader, Imbanet created a market disruption in higher education. For Jeffrey, business owners are dreamers and change makers who put everything on the line and win against all the odds. Jeffrey's passion is helping business owners achieve their goals and dreams. And today we're going to learn what is liquidity, how do you have a successful event, and how do you get to achieve, the level of success that Jeffrey has seen by having a 9-figure exit. So without further ado, please welcome Jeffrey Feldberg to GEMS Podcast.
Hey, Genesis, thank you so much for having me here. It's a true honor and a privilege. So much appreciated.
My pleasure, Jeffrey. And before we get into our subject of the next half an hour, I definitely want you to share an interesting or fun fact about yourself. What makes Jeffrey a wild card factor?
Wow, great question. What makes me a wild card factor? Okay, I'll share a little secret for you and the audience. You promise to keep a secret. Okay. I am the world's biggest introvert. In business, I may be out there as an extrovert and speaking to all these people, but really at heart, I'm an introvert and given the choice, just love hanging back at home and just chilling or doing whatever. But that's what makes me tick. I get a chance to recharge, to get back out there.
Super cool. I would not have guessed that. Do you have like a man cave or a he cave at home then?
You know what? I have my office is really I just for me it's not even an office. My home office. It's my creativity lab where I dream and just do all the incredible things and work with smart, driven, change maker business owners who really are out there to make all the difference.
Amazing. And thank you for sharing that. And you could definitely pull on some of your strengths because whenever you're out in the market and doing business, I'm sure you have to tap into that extroverted side. But then as you mentioned, whenever you go back home, it's where you recharge and rejuvenate.
Absolutely. So my home is just my home, and that's really where I get to just really think and dream and enjoy. And for the listeners out there, Genesis, I don't think there's a right, there's a wrong. It is what it is. And if you recognize what your strengths are, I'm always a big believer, don't focus on your weakness, focus on your strengths, take those to the next level. So as an example, I'm not saying, you know what, I really could be a better extrovert. Let me just work on being a better extrovert. It's just accepting what my God-given gifts and who I am, what I am, and running to the strengths and magnifying those.
Beautiful. And now I want to learn about more of your personal background and how that has helped you professionally, because there had to be something that drove you to get into the business that you're in now. So, what was the inspiration for you going down the path you are on?
Yeah, it's a great question, Genesis. And really, for me, the common theme for me is what drives me, what's my rocket fuel? It's helping people, changing their lives for the better, making a situation better than when I walked into it. And if you go to my first business, Embanet, the online company that I was very fortunate, myself and my business partners had a wonderful liquidity event. There we had this grandiose mission, and we're saying we're going to change the social fabric of society one e-learner at a time. And that's what we did. We played into, again, our strengths and what our passion was. We found a very painful problem that we were passionate to solve. And I'm a big believer when you put enough people first, you help people get their goals. Eventually, you'll be able to achieve what you want to achieve, but not the other way around. And then from there, after the liquidity event, incredibly successful, something interesting happened. Other business owners approached and said, "Hey, Jeffrey, you did so well in your liquidity event. How can I do the same?" And so Genesis, I began to look around and I thought, you know what, maybe there's a book, a seminar, a company, some kind of system that I can point them to, because what I did really wasn't for public consumption. It was just meant internally. It wouldn't make a lot of sense for people. And the more I looked, the more frustrated I became because I didn't really see that solution. I saw the opposite, actually. I saw people who had never done this charging a lot of money and taking advantage of business owners. And I thought to myself, here we go again. I'll share two statistics. When you own a business, and at one point you're thinking about maybe selling the business or raising capital, going public, everything in between, I call that a liquidity event. Up to 90% of liquidity events fail. Think about that for just a moment. All that time, that effort, that money, and as I like to say, you would have been better off going to a casino and at least you'd have fun. You'd blow your money, but you'd be put out of your misery a whole lot quicker. So 90% of liquidity events fail. And of the quote unquote successful liquidity events, most business owners are leaving 50% to over 100% of the deal value in the buyer's pocket. So the odds aren't great for us as business owners. And when I saw this going on, I said, okay, I feel angry. Let me do something about that. And I channeled into that. And that's how Deep Wealth came to be. We took our system and we actually made it better. We call it today the 9-step roadmap. I'll let you in on a secret, just between you and me, for nobody else, Genesis. Are you going to keep that secret?
Yes.
We didn't have 9 steps. Some of the 9 steps came from our failures that we reverse engineered. And so today we have the 9 steps. And that's when we said, okay, we don't want to level the playing field for business owners. We want to tilt it to the advantage of the business owners. And like you read in the introduction, as business owners, hey, we're the dreamers, but we're also the change makers. We solve painful problems. We make the world go round. And when it comes time for us to really recognize that difference that we made financially, why should we not be able to optimize that and get the full benefit of that? And so the 90-day Deep Wealth experience walks business owners through the 9-step roadmap. So when you walk out of it on day 91, you've done 2 things. Number 1, you've created a very specific blueprint on how to increase the value of your business. And then number 2, you have certainty. You can't believe, you've got to know that this is the best deal, not just any deal.
Absolutely. And do you feel that business owners will be more successful if they work on their business instead of in their business? Because if you're trying to sell your business via liquidity or mergers and acquisitions, if you're so busy working inside your business, how is that going to make it profitable whenever your business is surrounded by you?
Genesis, you took our favorite question and you said it so beautifully. You are spot on with that. One of the first questions we ask business owners, and for all you listeners out there, here's the question. And please, yes or no, no other words, just a 1-word answer, yes or no. No, well, maybe, or but, well, what about this? Yes or no. Here's the question. Does your business run without you? It's a simple question and it's a simple answer, yes or no. Does your business run without you? And Genesis, as you identified so eloquently, for most business owners, the answer is no. And so if your business doesn't run without you, you have a whole host of other problems. However, if you're thinking about a liquidity event, let's turn the tables here. If you were going to buy a business, spend all the time and the money looking into that business, would you buy a business that once the business owner walked out that door, there's no more business? A little bit of
No.
a rhetorical question, right?
Yeah.
Of course not. Of course
Unless you're
not.
crazy.
Well, listen, sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. But, more times than not, the answer is no. There's not going to be a liquidity event. And that's really what preparation is all about. And what most business owners don't realize, the strategies of preparation are the same strategies for growth. So you tell me, you have a thriving and profitable business, you can keep that forever, or you sell it tomorrow. But the point is, you have a choice, and a choice is a very powerful thing.
So then, whenever you get that business owner to shift their trajectory, is that where the 9 step roadmap comes in so they can get away from working in their business and working on their business? So that way they have the strategies in place to make their business scalable as well as sellable.
You're absolutely right. Again, you're asking terrific questions and some incredible insights. So, when you follow the 9 step roadmap, and the nice thing about the deep wealth experience, there's 3 parts to it to really help you along the way. So the first part, it's where you can access the very same strategies of preparation that we use for our liquidity event. At your own time, your own convenience, from your phone, your tablet, your computer, you're accessing all the strategies. The second part of the Deep Wealth experience is a mastermind group. So, Genesis, just like you and I are talking today and we're asking questions, we're having conversations, you're in a mastermind group with other business owners who are successful. They're not competitors. They want to learn the art and the science of a liquidity event. And so you're having incredible learning and you're networking and wonderful things are coming through. And the beauty of it is you do it from wherever you want to, from your home or your office or wherever you may be, that you're going to be meeting these other business owners virtually online. And then the third part is success coaching. So as you go through the 9 steps, as you go through each module, you have a workbook, you have questions, and we're a little bit different because you can record your answer. And so instead of having to, maybe you're a 2 finger bandit on the keyboard, it's going to take a long time. When you record, you get to see the face, you hear the voice. And so the mastermind groups listens to what you're saying, the success coach listens, and you get feedback very specifically for your business. So when you combine all those things, that really begins the process of having you build that roadmap, that strategy of how you'll prepare the business.
Perfect. And now let's start to peel back the onion layers a little bit. So, whenever you think of a liquidity event, let's talk about what all goes into a liquidity event, because sometimes when people hear liquidity, they're like, okay, I'm liquefying, these assets, and they're getting, in exchange for those assets. But maybe they didn't look at everything from a holistic perspective, and there may be some part of the negotiation where you may be leaving money on the table, because let's be honest, you don't know what you don't know. So let's start with explaining in a whole what exactly can someone look forward to whenever they're going to the liquidity event, and then we're going to actually do like a roadmap session where we're walking through those 9 steps. So we could give them the bread, but then we're also giving you the peanut butter and the jelly.
Fair enough. So preparing for a liquidity event, what are you doing? What does that look like? What is it really all about? And for most business owners, they make a fatal mistake. And the fatal mistake that they believe, again, they don't know, they believe, and I'm going to ask a rhetorical question. How can you ever master something that you've never done before? And, of course, you can't. And so most business owners believe the skills that built the business are the same skills to have a liquidity event, and it couldn't be further from the truth. And the fatal mistake that most business owners make is they'll phone up an investment banker. Okay, I'm ready. Let's have a liquidity event. And it all goes downhill from there. So the right way of doing it is, get ready for this. It's one word and it's boring. It's preparation. It's preparation, preparation, preparation. And preparation, depending on how quickly you want to do this, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 9 months, maybe it's 2 years, whatever the case may be. But when you prepare, you save your money, you save your health, and you save your time because you're doing it with you and your team on your terms. And you're learning things about your business that you didn't even think existed before. And you're taking your thinking, you and your team, to the next level. So, preparation, preparation, preparation. Once you're prepared, then you can go and have that liquidity event and you'll be the better for it.
Awesome. I'm over here absorbing all this information like a sponge. So, preparation. And I always say preparation is the conduit of progression, and progression is a conduit of perfection. So, without your 3 P's, preparation, progression, and perfection, then where is your end? There's no end because you didn't take the actions to acquire the results that you deem. So, anything you want to add there, Jeffrey, before I dive into asking you these 9 steps?
Genesis, I couldn't say it any better myself. I'm not even going to try. You just hit it out of the park. So let's run with that. Absolutely.
So now let's talk about the 9 steps. And earlier you said that in the beginning you did not even have the 9 steps, but what you did was you learned from those failures, and those failures became lessons learned. And from those lessons learned, you and your partner were able to reverse engineer it to make it into 9 practical steps so they can have a 9 figure exit. And I want to ask you a question. Is 9 a significant number for you? And if so, why?
Good question. Nine for me is it happened to be 9 steps. Maybe for some people, nine is a significant number. In this case, it was just 9 steps, and that's what's there. But you know what, Genesis? Who am I to say? Maybe there's something there. You're alluding to, hey, Jeffrey, you have a 9 step roadmap, a 9 figure exit. Genesis, I'm wondering now if we had a 10 step roadmap, could that have been a 10 figure exit? Oh my goodness. Maybe we should have added another step. Who knows? But it is a 9 step roadmap, and nine just happened to be the number.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, because I know some people who are really big in numerology, they're like, 8 is the number of new beginnings, 7 is grace, and all of that stuff. So I wasn't sure if there was like, oh, okay, maybe a deeper meaning. And because you're deep wealth, you have 9 steps, 9 exit.
Well, you
So
know what, Genesis, with you, with the community, with the listeners, if they have some insights on that, I would love to hear that.
me too. So there you have it, listeners. If you know the significant behind 9, or if you could kind of connect the dots, definitely drop us a one-liner because we're always here to learn and grow from each other. So back to you, Jeff. Let's walk through these 9 stages, 9 steps.
Absolutely. So, step number one, Genesis, it's the big picture. What's going on? What's going on in the company? What's going on in the marketplace? What's going on in the world? So, it's being aware of what's happening out there. Are there any trends that are starting to happen? Because for business owners, we sometimes take things for granted. We're only as good for our clients as what we can do today, not yesterday, not the day before, and perhaps we have a great solution, but maybe someone today comes up with a better one. What are you going to do? So you're taking a look at the big picture. Step number one. Step number two is identifying X factors that insanely increase the value of your business. So, an X factor, this is something that you could be world class in. It makes you unique. And most business owners, they take it for granted. Well, we're doing this, but everyone's doing this. Well, no, that's not the case. You're world class in that. Most businesses are world class, or they have X factors in 3 to 5 areas, sometimes more. Step number three, mastering the art and the science of thinking like a future buyer. Most business owners, well, when it comes to a liquidity event, don't hold this against me. It is what it is. We can be selfish, and we're only thinking of ourselves. When you tune into the world's favorite radio station, WII.FM, the What's in It for Me radio station, but as your future buyer, well, that's where you start getting results. That's where you see the world differently, and why a buyer, number one, is interested in your opportunity, and why a buyer may even want to pay top dollar to make that happen. Step number four, 2 words. If you want to see a grown person cry, say due diligence. And we're big on due diligence. We are really big fans of doing an internal due diligence audit before you ever go to market. And when you do a due diligence audit, you see what works, what doesn't work, you find all your blind spots. And guess what? Even if you never go to market, when you do that internal audit, you're a better company for it. So we spend a lot of time on what are you looking for? What are you asking? What should you be doing? Then step number five, it's a winning mindset. And a winning mindset really covers the entire spectrum. Your buyer may try and tire you out. It's called deal fatigue. Your advisors, that we're going to get to in the next step, they may have a different goal than you have. So a winning mindset, how do I get alignment and harmony with my advisors, with my key employees that are helping me out, with the buyer? How do I protect myself from not getting tired? And for any of you that have purchased something, I want you to imagine you got into these negotiations and they went on and on and on, and it was just dragging out, and you're getting tired. And at one point, you may even say, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to do it. I just want to get this over with. I want to move on. Life's too short. Let me make the most of it. You don't want to do that in your liquidity event. You have one chance to get it right. You want to make it right. So we really inject you with a strategy of how to create a winning mindset for you and everyone else. Step number 6, advisory team. You know what? A liquidity event, Genesis, it is not just for you and you alone to do. It takes a team. You know, my favorite saying, I didn't say this, someone else did, but it's a beautiful saying: when the team works, the dream works. Okay, well, how do you build that team? Where do you look? What do you ask? If you're speaking to an investment banker, as an example, what questions should you be asking? Where do you look? If you speak to 5 of them, who's going to be the best one for you? The most successful investment banker may not be the best one for you. And so we provide all the questions and the scorecards and everything else that you need for your entire advisory team. So whether it be your M&A lawyer or your investment banker, and the list just goes on and on with all the specialists, you know what you're doing, because you can't do this on your own. And by the way, when you come to an advisor and you say, oh, yeah, you know what? We spent the past 2 years preparing. Here's all of our information. Here's what we're doing. You'll impress the heck out of everyone. Step number 7, timing and execution. So you have the liquidity event, but what do you say before the liquidity event, during the liquidity event, after the liquidity event? And Genesis, this was one of the areas that we failed and I failed in. And this is one of the areas that we reverse engineered. Because for most business owners, you just don't pay the time and attention that it deserves for that. And so we have frequently asked questions and scripts and all the stakeholders of, okay, if you're speaking to a client or an employee or the media or a vendor or a supplier, what should you be saying? What questions are you likely going to be asked, and how do you respond? And what gets interesting, this is my favorite part of the 9-step roadmap, step number 8. Really, all of the steps are doing this. We're doing 2 things. So effective preparation, and I'm going to make this simple, but please don't confuse simple with simplicity. Effective preparation has you find those hidden skeletons in the closet and you remove them, but it has you go up to the attic and you're finding those hidden Rembrandts, those X factors, and you're putting those hidden Rembrandts out for public display. And that's everything that we're doing with preparation. So when you show up, you're not giving the buyer a reason. Oh my goodness, Genesis, you did this wrong. Oh, we're going to have to deduct this. You did that wrong. You didn't do this. You didn't do that. We can't even do the deal. You avoid all of that. That's why 90% of liquidity events fail. When you remove those skeletons, you're putting the likelihood of success through the roof. And when you find those Rembrandts, you put that out there, your value, you take it to the next level. And then step number 9 is launch. So everything that you've done in all the various modules, all the steps, you're now putting that into action. And Genesis, to your point, some of your listeners may be saying, oh my goodness, Jeffrey, I can't do all those 9 steps. I don't have time. The great news is you're not supposed to. It's a team effort. So with each of those 9 steps, you can say, okay, you know what? These people over here are going to cover that, and those people over there are going to cover that, and I'll work on this. But you have a plan and you have certainty that when you do that, you'll get not any deal, but you'll get the best deal. So those are the 9 steps.
Wow, and those are 9 powerful steps, and one of the steps that resonated with me was the advisory team, because as you were talking about it, it's that dream team. It's those people who are there with you, at the bottom as well as at the top. They're your accountability partners. Then, another one was due diligence. Sometimes when we go into business, we don't do our market research, and then we don't continue to evolve in our business. Just like, technology advances, the world changes, we also need to be advancing in our business to say, am I still being relevant? Am I adding value? Is my business adding value to me? How am I showing up? Then winning mindset. Mindset is everything. If you don't have that that winning mindset, then you're easily going to derail and sidetrack. And that was five that was also spoke to me. And all of these were like really good. And I definitely don't have time to go through all of them because I want to be respectful of your time, Jeffrey, because 30 minutes flies by super fast. But I want to thank you so much for just giving us these nine steps, because then once you have these nine steps and everything is in place, then that is going to allow you to have that nine-figure exit. So let's talk about a challenge that you faced in your business. And then once you overcame that challenge, did you feel like you had more clarity and focus to achieve that nine-figure exit, whether it was with you personally with the business or your client?
Great question. Wow, Genesis, you are just asking these amazing questions. You know what? I had so many challenges along the way. I made so many mistakes along the way. If my goodness, if I had $1 for every mistake that I made, I wouldn't have needed the nine-figure exit. I could have just on my own had done, really well with that. For me, as I look back, I think the biggest challenge, and as business owners, founders, entrepreneurs, we're really hard on ourselves, and we just are driven, and we're type A personalities. It took me a while to really learn and understand that the journey, not the goal, the journey is really what it's all about. That's where the memories are, the value is. I'm going to say the F word, the fun. That's where the fun is along the journey. So enjoy the journey along the way. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You're smart, you're driven, you'll figure it out, you'll get through it. It took me a while to figure that out. But once I got that down, and I'm still learning that lesson sometimes from time to time. But once I remind myself, hey, Jeffrey, it's all about the journey. Just no matter what you're going through, keep on doing what you're doing. You are exactly where you need to be right here, right now. Enjoy the journey, learn from it, make the most of it. That was the game changer for me.
And thank you for sharing your challenge and how you learn from that challenge so you're able to pivot and just keep on going by having fun, learning the lesson, and then not repeating the same mistakes. Because sometimes people see successful entrepreneurs doing amazing things, but they fail to recognize that they did have those start ugly moments. They had those challenges. There may have been a period where they weren't able to pay themselves from their business, but they were able to pay their employees. So there are so many challenges that business owners face. And until you get ready to go beyond the surface level with them, you'll only see one sided. And so I was like, do you want to make an assumption? Do you want to make a hypothesis? Or do you want to do your due diligence and actually learn from somebody who has been where you are but has surpassed it? And now, as we wind down, Jeffrey, I want to let you give the listeners as well as the viewers your call to action for this segment.
Absolutely. Listen, I'm a big believer, Genesis, in before leaving any situation, do something, take some action. And so, my call to action for all you listeners out there, come to the website, deepwealth.com. Or if you want to come to the Deep Wealth Sell My Business podcast, podcast.deepwealth.com, go there. We have a free ebook, and sign up for that ebook. You'll learn all the things that perhaps you're not as good at that you think you are, or what you can do to get to the next level. Our ebook, no offense, why you suck at selling your business and what you can do about it today. So get that ebook. You'll also start getting all of our articles and our emails. You'll learn about all the podcasts, become a subscriber, and just start going through there. If you have a question, reach out to me directly, Jeffrey, Jeffrey, at deepwealth.com. So don't leave this terrific episode of what Genesis has put out there for you. And Genesis, thank you for that. Take action right here, right now. I gave you 3 things that you could do. You can come to the website, you can go to the podcast, you can send me an email. Make that happen. Don't let anything else occur before you get that done.
Wow, thank you, Jeffrey. And so we have your website, and I will definitely share your podcast link. But now, where do you hang out primarily on social media, if any?
The best place to reach me, I'm on a lot of the social channels, but the website really is the best place to reach me, or see what's going on. The podcast, we have a vibrant podcast of terrific thought leaders, and some ideas out there. And so between the podcast, the website, my email address, that's going to be the best place to reach me.
Okay, perfect. So there you have it, listeners and viewers. We learned about what a liquidity event is. We learned the 9 stages to help you, build your business as well as make sure that it's sellable so you can have that 9-figure exit. So if you are working in your business and not on your business, you're definitely not doing it right. So you actually need to go back to the basics and figure out where you need to change. And you can definitely learn that by linking up with Jeffrey Feldberg. Once again, make sure you subscribe and share this segment. We are on 40 plus platforms. Also, follow us over on YouTube at Gems with Genesis Amaris Kemp for all things video content. And lastly, but not least, I want to thank each one of you that listen on a daily basis or however often you listen to the podcast. Because without you, we wouldn't be ranked in the top 3% globally out of 2.8 million podcasts per www.listennotes.com, where you'll find out more metrics. And we're definitely looking for brand sponsors as well as ambassadors for this year and onward. So find out more information by going to genesisamariscamp.net. And until next time, peace, love, and lots of blessings. Have yourself an amazing day. And remember, be an asset, not a liability.